Welcome back to another edition of Couch Cruisers. This time around, the training wheels are coming off. In planning the route for the second year of my circumnavigation, easy island hopping to destinations within sight is no longer an option. This Panama to New Zealand route contains one mammoth 30-day sail, two respectable 10-day legs, and around 94 days sailing overall. So without further ado, let's get into the details. To catch anyone up that missed Part 1, this mini-series is planning a circumnavigation route. Part 1 was Miami to Panama. The scrolling map tour you see in the background is the planned route for this year, starting on the Pacific side of Panama. For any cruising sailboat, a primary consideration needs to be weather, specifically major storm systems. For the South Pacific, that means cyclones. In the last video, you probably heard me mention hurricanes. Hurricanes and cyclones are the same weather phenomenon. The name just changes based upon where the storm originated. In the South Pacific, hurricane season is during their summer, basically November through April. This map shows the tropical storms in the South Pacific. As you can see, the further east and north you are, the reduced risk of encountering a significant weather event. This is why it's safe to leave Panama for the Galapagos in December and Galapagos for the Marquesas in January. This chart shows the main stops along the route with distances and travel times estimated at 4 knots. The first two legs of the route are both significant voyages. In all honesty, Isla Malpelo should probably be lumped in with the Galapagos leg since Isla Malpelo has no services, no anchorages, and getting a mooring depends on the goodwill of the Colombian Navy. At first, I was concerned with the number of travel days in this route. What put my mind at ease is that the majority happen in large voyages, after which a lengthy stay in a new paradise is awaiting. To put it in perspective, 75% of the distance covered by this route are during multi-day passages. So while the overall distances are much greater than the Caribbean leg, the actual number of days spent where any portion of the day is underway is comparable. Unlike the Caribbean route, this route doesn't provide an easy exit to a cyclone-safe location should you fall behind schedule, so attention to the timetable is important. You really need to be down to New Zealand by October or planning to make the South Pacific a multi-year stay, which I will discuss in a bit. The prevailing winds should be in your favor for the majority of this route. The chart shows the estimate for February, but remains similar for most of the year. Getting past the Galapagos will probably be the leg with the least favorable wind conditions. French Polynesia looks amazing. Ending up behind schedule or simply deciding 1 year isn't enough to see it wouldn't be surprising. If you decide to stay for a second year, simply slow down the voyage to arrive in the Society Islands in October and then make your way back to the Marquesas Islands by November. Wait out hurricane season in the Marquesas until March, when you can continue onward. This graphic is from sailtahiti.com. I'll put a link in the description. If you want to waste a few hours dreaming, their site also has boats for sale in Tahiti. I know this video would have been done several hours earlier if I hadn't. So a quick list of stuff I didn't consider. One I'd like to touch on is customs and visas. Where do you need to check into countries and what does it cost? As an example, for the cost to visit the Galapagos, you can afford at least a whole month of living expenses in French Polynesia. Despite the cost, I don't think I would skip the Galapagos. It's not like I'm going to be back. Here's the overview map of the route. Panama to the Galapagos, Galapagos to Marquesas, Marquesas to Gambier, Gambier to Tuamotu Atoll, Tuamotu to Tahiti, Tahiti to Society, Society to Cook, Cook to Tonga, and finally Tonga to New Zealand. Since all the best music is copyrighted, I'd like to close by saying, Alexa, play Afternoon Delight. Thanks for sticking around for the second leg of my journey. If I don't get distracted dreaming and browsing boats in another exotic port, I hope to have part 3 out in another week or two.